All right, ladies and gentlemen, bienvenue à tous. Welcome, welcome. There's a little more French for you right there. So let's get started right at it. And bienvenue à tous means welcome to all. All right, cool. So let's get started here. And also, once again, click the link down below if you'd like to check out the Ultimate Blender course. Put it together for you. You're absolutely going to love it. So first thing, let's grab our strawberry and bring it up. Very anticlimactic. All right, now let's go ahead and add the little paper to our strawberry. I'm not too sure what it's called. I should know, I'm French, but let's call it the pastry paper. And yes, I am French. Let me know if you've ever been to France or want to go, actually. Leave it in the comments down below. Would love to know. I'm curious, so let me know. All right, Shift A, add mesh, circle. Then hitting the T key, we're going to bump this up to 64 vertices. And then hitting tab to go into edit mode, let's hit S to scale. Hitting O to turn off proportional editing before. S to scale. And then E and Z to extrude it on the Z axis. And then let's scale it up like so. Alt right click the bottom edge loop right here and then hit F to fill in that face. And now what we're going to do is just Alt right click every other edge right here. So Alt Shift right click, I should say. If you don't have the shift on there, it's going to be a little tricky. So Alt Shift right click every other one. I need some elevator music here. Do 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 do. Probably thinking, Alex, it was better without the music. All right. A moment of silence. All right, and it seems like right here I skipped two of them, so let me... And there we go. All right, cool. So now just hit the S key and scale that in. Scale it in with the S key. And there you have it. Cool. So now let's hit Control 2 to add a subsurf level of 2. And then hitting Tab to go back into edit mode. Control R, add an edge loop right there. Control R, add one right there to sharpen that off. And then let's go ahead and add a solidify modifier. Add modifier, solidify, and there we go. And then hitting the T key, let's smooth that out. It's a little rough right there, matey. All right, cool. Let's go to the materials tab, add a new material, and let's name this pastry underscore paper. Cool. Now, I'm actually going to make this a mix shader. So basically a diffuse shader means it's completely diffused, no shininess to it. A mix shader allows for you to mix two shaders together. So we're going to click on mix shader and we're going to select the first shader diffuse and the second shader glossy. Now, before we go ahead and go any further, what I actually want to do is set up something in our scene that will help us a little bit to see what's happening, because right now with our strawberry, if we go to the chocolate over here, we want this to be reflecting something in our scene and the strawberry as well. Now, obviously we're not going to build a whole scene, so what we're going to do is something really cool. You can tell by how many reallys I put in it, how cool it is. So first thing, let's separate our window by left clicking and dragging on the bottom left corner. And then let's change this to rendered view, and this will basically show you what your scene looks like when it's rendered. So let me show you actually how what we're going to do is going to help to add some realism or some extra environment to what we're doing. So for that, let's go to the chocolate, add a new material, and let's name this strawberry chocolate. All right, there we go. Singing was unnecessary, or was it? All right, let's change this to from diffuse to a mix shader as well. And let's change the first one to to diffuse. Where is it? I love how when stuff is right in front of my face and I can't see it. All right, to diffuse, and then the second shader to glossy. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I keep these videos very real, all right? All right, let's change this color to a chocolate looking color. So right around there, and then drag your mouse wheel down to make it darker. Depending on how dark you like your chocolate, or maybe you want white chocolate, I don't know. It's all your preference. So now with your mouse hovered over this, Control C, and then Control V to copy it on that color right there. Now, bringing the strawberry down, actually let's bring this up above the grid floor, and the strawberry down as well. Now, right here we have several different options for the strawberry chocolate. The factor input basically determines how much it is mixing between the diffuse and the glossy. So 0.5 means it's 50% diffuse, 50% glossy. If we turn this all the way down to 0, it means it's 100% diffused. All the way to 1 means it's 100% glossy. So now, one thing I want to show you as well, and also another factor that we use is the roughness. This basically determines, you can see that right here, you could see that the paper is reflecting 100% into the chocolate of the strawberry. The more we raise this, the more diffused or scattered that reflection is going to be, and the less sharp it's going to be. Now, obviously with this chocolate and the strawberry, we want some things to be reflecting in it to give it the impression that it's in an environment. So the way we're going to do that without having to add a whole environment in here is we're going to use an environment image. So pretty cool. What this is going to do is it's going to give us some reflections and some highlights and some lighting as well to our scene. The way we're going to do this is go to Window, Toggle Window, or well, I have to do that because my window's full screen. And now let's add a new window or open a new window in your Internet Explorer and go to cgtextures.com. Man, I seriously gotta get my excitement down, otherwise I'm all over the place. All right, now let's search for bakery. And this site has hundreds and hundreds of free textures. All you have to do is create an account and you could have textures for free. So here under bakery, just create an account and then click this image right here of the bakery, and you could download one of these two images. The first one is perfectly fine. So go ahead and download this image right here. Once you have it, going back into Blender, we go to the World tab right here, and we're going to dominate the world. All right, click on Use Nodes, and we're going to change it from color to environment texture. Now it's purple, which is not what we want. So let's go to Open and open up that image that we just downloaded, which is shops right there. Now you can see that our background, instead of being gray, is the background of this shop image that we have. And you could see that it's now reflecting in the chocolate of the strawberry. Especially if I turn this down, you can see that the reflection of the shop is in here. So how cool is that? That gives you more reflection and lighting to your scene where you don't have to actually model a whole bakery, which is pretty cool and useful, because modeling all this just to get some reflections on our chocolate, it's going to be quite tedious. So there we go. That is our chocolate right there. I'm going to leave it like that, except I'm going to put the factor down just a little bit so it's not as shiny. All right, so now what I want to do is actually go ahead and grab our light before we go any further and change it. First click on Use Nodes and then change it into sunlight, and it's going to give us some better results. Of course, the brightness is way too strong, so let's bump it down to 2. And there we go. And I'm going to move it out a bit. All right, cool. So now let's go ahead and add a texture to our leaves right here. And the way we're going to do that is just 7 to go into top view, tab to go into edit mode, A to select everything, and we're going to hit U, project from view. And then going down here, let's change this to the UV image editor. Let's also go ahead and click on new for adding a new material. We're going to name this strawberry leaf. Cool. All right. And we're going to change it from color. We're going to change it to image texture. And now the image texture we're going to use is going back to CG textures. We're going to look for leaf. Hence what we're adding, which is a leaf. And the one I find to work pretty good is this one right here. If you just scroll down, it's this leaf that's down here, and you can download the first image right here. Cool. So now once you have that one in, and just go ahead and click open and find where you downloaded your strawberry, which is right here. And then just go over here and open it in the UV image editor by clicking this image icon and select the leaf. Now let's go to textured mode by selecting this right here and change the viewport shading to textured so we can see what's going on. Select one of the vertices and Control L to select the link, ladies and gentlemen. And then just position this on one of your leaves. Select the other leaf, Control L, and bring this, rotate it, and such with the R and S key. Like so. Alright, cool. So there, now we got our leaf going. One thing that I want to do for the leaf, if we go to rendered view, you can see that it looks a little bit flat. So let's go ahead and quickly add a bump map to this so that it is not so flat. And also one thing, let's select the stem, hit tab to go into edit mode, or actually just select the stem, shift select the leaf, Control L, and copy the materials, and then select the stem. In edit mode, hit U and unwrap that sucker, and then scale it way down. And I'm just gonna place this little guy, he's just gonna go snugly right here, right in the middle. So it's kind of like a light brownish, greenish color right there, and it's not completely green. Alright, cool. Now let's add the bump map. Dun dun dun. Alright, let's go to rendered. And now let's change this to the node editor. And in the node editor, we're just going to do a quick bump map. And a bump map basically allows, because right now you can see that it looks kind of flat, but a bump map, what it does is it plays around, it affects, it's like another mapping that you add to your object, which affects the lighting. So it gives the illusion that there's actual bumps and extra detail that otherwise wouldn't be there. So instead of having to model it, you could just use a bump map. So Shift D to copy this one, this image node right here. Let's then go ahead and connect this all the way to displacement. And you can see right away that it has some bumps added to it. Pretty cool. Now to have more control over this, let's do two things. First, let's change this to non-color data. And then hit Shift A and go to Converter, Math, and just drag that in there and change it to multiply. Personally, I like additions better than multiplication, but you know, whatever. And then if you increase the value, it will increase the bump amount to there. Now, obviously, that's a little dramatic. Looks like an old strawberry leaf. Wise and old. So I'm going to put it to 0.5, and that should be just fine. All right, cool. Now I'm going to go back to the 3D view. I'm going to change this one to solid. We don't need two rendered views. And now I'm going to select this strawberry. Go to the red and change this to a mix shader as well. Believe it or not, strawberries are slightly shiny. Last time I checked. No, they're not black. That's the exact opposite that we want. So let's go ahead and change the first shader to a diffuse. Let's bring it to a red color. Maybe bring the brightness down a bit. Control C with your mouse over it to copy it. And then go to the shader, the bottom shader, and let's change this to a glossy shader. And we're actually going to leave this one white, actually, not red, because if you look at a strawberry reference, the glossiness or the shininess is usually red. So let's leave it like that. I'm also going to, let's see, rotate this light a little bit so that we get some nice reflections in there. And I'm also going to add two more lights in here before I mess around with the shader so that we could have a better feel of how this is looking. So Shift A, add mesh plane, scale it up, and now G and Z and bring it up. Now, you're probably wondering, why in the world are you adding a plane? Well, you could actually add a new material and change this from diffuse to emission. Right there. Now, an emission, basically, this will act like a light now. So if I hit R and X and 90, you can see that now this is a light object. And the more you scale it up, the brighter it will be. Or you could increase the amount here, such as to 2. Cool. So now we have this light. I'm actually going to go ahead and in side view, hit Shift D, copy this over and rotate it 90 degrees. So now it kind of looks like we have an overhead light over here. Cool. Now, also what I'm going to do, actually, let's do that right now. Let's add a floor in here as well before we go any further. So Shift A, add mesh plane, And actually, we're going to add a cutting board type thing. So let's bring this over. And let's hit S to scale this up. And now I'm going to hit S and X to scale it up a little bit more. And then tab to go into edit mode and E to extrude and bring it down. All right, cool. Now let's go back to the strawberry and let's play around with these values over here. So once again, all the way at 1, it will be completely reflective. And now it's reflecting the background color and the floor and everything, which is crazy. So let's bring it down to there and maybe bring this so that it's a little sharper and not so diffused. Like so. I like that look right there. All right, cool. Now grabbing the strawberry, the chocolate actually, not the strawberry. Whoops. The strawberry, grabbing it, not hiding it. Let's go ahead and rotate this. And rotate it how you want. Personally, I like it like that. And then over here, I kind of want this angle right here like I had in the main image. I don't know. I like that angle, right? I guess it's, this is how strawberries look in France, all right? So laying it like that. Now let's go ahead, and one thing I want to do actually with the leaves, grabbing the leaves, hitting tab to go into edit mode. I'm going to select the tips of the leaves right here. And then just going to hit the O key to bring up the proportional editing. And then just bringing these up a bit like so that they're more raised like that. Because personally, I kind of like that look a little bit better. All right, cool. Now, what I want to do, sorry, I'm too excited. Let's grab the little paper thing and let's add, it already has a new material, but what we're going to do is go ahead and first select this, click on copy material, then add a new material and let's select paste material. And first click on new and then paste material. And let's name this one pastry gold. And what we're going to do now is hit tab to go into edit mode. Let's hit Control R, add 2 loop cuts, one right next to the other, and then 2 more, one right next to the other. Or however many you want, you know. It's your pastry paper. Control tab, let's go into face select mode. Alt shift right click all of these, and then click on assign. And of course, let's change the color of this to a goldish color, like, don't say like so, Alex. I'm sorry. Like, something like that. All right, and then Control C and Control V into the glossiness as well. Cool. So now, just a couple last things that I want to do before. I'm going to select the lattice here. I'm going to hit tab to go into edit mode and actually select all 4 of these points right here and hit the S key, turn off proportional editing, hit the S key, and just scale these up a little bit because it was looking a little bit flat right there and I want it more rounded. I want a nice rounded strawberry, you know, none of that skinny little twiggy strawberry. I want a nice rounded one. All right. Now let's go ahead. Selecting the cutting board, we're going to add another image texture from CG Textures. CG Textures is getting a lot of use here. Let's look for, I believe it was table that I searched for. Oh, dang, am I good. Man, look at that. There it is. All right, so it's this image texture right there under table. Download this one. You could download the first one or the second one since this one is going to be closer up. But download it, go back to Blender, and then add a new material. We're actually going to add a mix shader to this. Believe it or not, if you look at your cutting board, it's for the most part not shiny, but it can have some shine to it depending on how used it is. Let's change this to a diffuse, and then this one to a glossy. And then under the diffuse, going to color, let's change that to image texture, and open the image texture. Uh-oh, is it gonna crash? Nah. There, it can't crash on me. You're not allowed to. All right, let's go ahead and open up the wood planks clean texture. Now, let's go to UV image editor and hitting tab to go into edit mode here. And unwrap everything and then select your textures wood plank. Let's go to material mode. And now let's go to the node editor. So node editor. I want to go ahead and do the same thing, add in a bump map to this. So let's Shift D and copy this image right here. Change it to non-colored data. And then left click and drag the image to the displacement. And then Shift A, add a converter, math. And then change this to multiply. And now what I want to do is go over here, go to rendered view so that we can see what's going on. And then if we bump this to, let's say 10, you can see it's way too much. So let's maybe bring this to a 3. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then going to the materials tab, let's bring the factor value down so that it's not so shiny and we don't have a mirror cutting board right there. We just want a normal cutting board. Come on. All right, cool. So there we have it. Let's change this back to the 3D view. GZ, bring this up a bit. Cool. All right, it's coming along very nicely. Now let's add a backdrop of sorts. Shift A, add mesh, plane. Let's do it over here because in rendered view it's a little tricky sometimes. Bring this under the plane or under your cutting board. Tab to go into edit mode, control tab and go to vertex select mode. Man, you guys need like a manuscript of what I'm saying. It's just going to be like hit tab, hit E, R. All right, E to extrude and Z and bring it up. Then in object mode, hit S and X, scale that up, and then R and Z to rotate it on the Z axis to about so. Now, one thing you can see that we can see the shadows of our lights, which is no bueno, or pas bien in French. So selecting the light, going to the object data tab right here. If we go to, not motion blur, cycle settings, we could turn off shadow. And this way it will not cast the shadow of the object. So let's do the same thing with the other one. And boom. Bada boom, bada bing. All right. Let me see now. All right, so now I'm just going to position the camera or the angle kind of where I want it. So about right here maybe. Select the backdrop and hit R and Z and rotate it so that we have it filling up the whole background. All right, now we could go ahead and hit Control, Alt, and 0 on the numpad, which will position our camera right there, smack dab in the middle. All right, cool, so it's looking pretty good. Now, I just want to bring up the cutting board a little bit. All right, there we go. So now I'm just going to grab the strawberry, not the chocolate, the strawberry. And then going over here to the materials tab for the strawberry, I'm actually going to change the color of it. So I'm going to darken the red a bit to maybe something like that. And then also I'm going to change the shininess, make it a little bit more shiny. And maybe a little bit sharper. Maybe not so dark. There we go. All right, cool. So something like that. Now, what I'm going to do is go ahead and copy this material. Go to strawberry seeds. And then I'm going to click on paste material. And then just change this to a yellow color once again. But this way it has all the materials settings as the strawberry itself. All right, cool. So there we go. That is our strawberry right there. It looks pretty cool. And this could be great for a little cartoon / animation scene. You know, a kid walking into a bakery shop or something like that. Now, of course, you can model the saucer or the little plate that I had it in as well, which is very simple. And then also the eclair. Eclair is pretty simple as well, but if you want a tutorial on that, just let me know. But that's pretty much it for the strawberry, and very, very well done. One other thing we could possibly do, and let me see actually. I'm going to turn the shininess of this down a little bit because from different angles, it's a little too shiny for the strawberry. So I'm going to bump this up a little bit. So it's not as, or bump it down, sorry. Bumping it up makes it even shinier, Alex. All right. And then bump it down a little bit. And maybe bump this up a tiny bit. There we go. All right, that's looking better. So there we go, and there we have it. So very, very well done once again, ladies and gents. There is your little stylized strawberry that you could put there. And once again, thank you for watching. Appreciate you so much. Please like this video, leave a comment about the video, or leave a comment letting me know if you've ever been to France or want to go. Would love to hear it. And also follow us on social media, Facebook, Blender Mania, and then with that as well, click the link below, check out the course I put together for you. It's absolutely phenomenal. I put hours and hours into it, and I know you're gonna love it. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, this tutorial was for you. Hey, I'm just having fun during this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it, and very well done if you made it to this part. You've now just created a really cool strawberry effect. The strawberry effect. All right, I'll end with that. Au revoir. Ciao for now. Bye. All right, I lied. This is not the last part. There's one more thing that I want to show you because I know people are going to ask. And that is, how do you add the white chocolate or the vanilla chocolate on top of the strawberry? So very, very simple. Select your chocolate and hit Shift D and then right click to leave it in the center. Now hit the S key and hold down Shift to scale it up very, very slightly to about so. And then hitting the Tab key to go into edit mode, just hit Control R and add in some loop cuts here. We can't have a chocolate covered strawberry without some white chocolate on top of it. That's just no bueno. Or pas bien French. All right. Now hit Control Tab, go into face select mode, Alt Shift right click all of these face loops and delete the faces, including this one at the top right here. And then select one of these faces, Control L, and delete the faces. Cool, now we have these rings going around our chocolate strawberry. All we have to do is go over here to the materials, click on single user, change these to white or whatever color chocolate you want. You could have blue chocolate. I don't know, that sounds kind of nasty, but it's up to you. It's your strawberry, you know what I mean? All right, now go to the modifiers tab. Let's add a modifier, solidify. And just increase the thickness so that it goes into the strawberry. Now, I like to have the solidify modifier before the subsurf one because it makes it rounder, as you can see. And now all we have to do is hit Control Tab or hit Tab to go into edit mode, Control R, add a loop cut here, and then Alt S, holding down the Shift key to scale it up. So Control R, left click, and then right click, Alt S, which fattens or thickens or makes it thinner, your edge loop. So Alt S and then holding down Shift to do it in smaller increments. And this will basically give it an even more rounded look so that it doesn't look so flat. So once again, doing that with all of these, Control R, then Alt S, and then hold down Shift. Cool. Now, hitting Tab to go back into edit mode, vertex select mode. Just go ahead and select some of these vertices here. Kind of just randomly select them, and then hit the X key and delete the vertices, and delete any surrounding vertices that have stayed. Pesky vertices. All right, now hitting the C key to bring up the brush tool. We're just going to randomize these a bit. Now, for the most part, the chocolate lines on the strawberry are pretty straight. I mean, those pastry artists have a pretty good handle of their chocolate for their strawberries. But it does have some wiggle. I was going to say some swiggle, some swagger to it. So you could definitely add in a little bit of wiggliness to the strawberry. Cool. And then another thing you could do to add variety is select the vertices individually on the sides here and kind of bring them out a little bit to add variety in the thickness of it. And basically you could tweak it as much as you want. Now I'm not going to do that, otherwise it's going to take too long. I just want to show you the basics of how you do it. And now you just want to go around and make sure that the vertices are actually in the strawberry and not sticking up over it like this or like that. Just make sure that it's completely in the strawberry and that it is looking fine and dandy. Alright, but now if we go to rendered view, you can see that we have our white chocolat going around our strawberry. Now, of course, you can make it thicker or thinner. You could make them shorter or longer, however you want. But that's basically the process that I used to make them. And once again, you could have the solidify modifier first or second, depending on which style you like best. I personally like the solidify modifier first, but it's up to you. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now that is it. I am done. This is not a lie. This is the truth, the absolute truth, and nothing but the truth. So, see you in the next tutorial. Ciao for now.